Hello, this is Mama Jess with Skilled Womanhood, and today I'm going to show you my technique for tying tomatoes. There are a lot of techniques, but this is the one I learned from an extraordinary organic market farmer in Rumsey, California. She grew the tallest, most incredibly tasty tomatoes I have ever experienced. So if you're going to try to use something like this, if you really want to grow really good tomato plants that can get up to 8 feet tall, this is not going to cut it. I also find that these tomato cages, they're awkward. Again, they don't hold necessarily a bigger tomato plant very well. And I find that I usually trip on these somehow. They're just in my way. Even when they're somewhere far away, when I come upon them, I can't see them, and they're just, I don't like them. So I use T-posts. There's a T-post, and I use a T-post pounder, okay? You definitely want to have ear protection because it gets super loud when you're next to this thing. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I want you to know, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to try to lift this in this position, like really high like this. That is dangerous and too hard on your body. So I want you to do this. Walk down low, insert it here. Okay, get your anchor point down at the base where you want it to be, and then we're going to lift it, okay? Okay, so as far as my movement, I'm going to be doing a full squat, down, like this, down, okay? Not just this. Okay, so watch me. I have this section turned toward me this way, these handles, as opposed to this direction. Okay, so they're closer to me. And I'm going to be using my knees, my legs, and my whole back. You'll be able to see it slowly move down to the height you want. And you will also see when it's down deep enough for your liking, this area down below will usually get covered. Sometimes it's hard to get it in the ground and it won't go past like this point. As long as you feel like it has the stability you want, it doesn't matter. I like to get it down as far as I can because I don't want these sharp points to hurt anybody. I also want you to look at my T-post pounder. Notice how I put yellow tape around the opening so that I don't have to constantly look at the pounder every time I pick it up to wonder which side is open and which side is not. Okay, I'm going to finish the next one. So again, my movement, the way I feel my body moving is like a whiplash, like, okay? All right, so rather than buy twine to do this, I just keep all of the hay bale twine, okay, from the cows. So I collect that, keep it nicely draped over something because it can become a big tangle. And I use these lengths. They seem to work. I don't have to cut them down or anything. Okay, so as you know, I really enjoy knots, and the knots that I like to use a bowline on this side, because ultimately what I want is I want to be able to untie every one of these really easily at the end. And I like to have a slip knot at the other side because it's easy to then pull the rope through the tomato plants and pull it out. So when I'm pulling the tomato plants out, I'm not fighting it, whether it's like tangled in netting, tangled in some kind of twined up situation. I know you can cut that, but I don't like cutting rope if I can help it. Okay, so this side, I do a bowline. So you want to go to my video about learn how to do a bowline. Okay. Okay, so that'll be easy. No matter how much force I put on that, that'll be easy to untie. Okay, then I'm going to be coming, so you can see I'm about 10 inches off the ground, and that's when I start tying my tomatoes, is that they're finally ready. I tuck it on this side and I walk down the whole length until I get to the other end. All right, so we're on the other end. So I'm pulling it as tight as I can. Come around the back side. Then I pull the rope back on itself to tighten it even more. Okay? Walk it around, again, this direction. Then I've created this little hole here, and I'm going to tuck it through and create a slip knot here, like a bow at the end. Then from here, I tie it again to make sure it's secure, okay? And I like to do like a bow again. So I like to slip everything that I can, okay? Makes everything a lot easier to come out. Okay, now it's ready to continue on to the next set of 3 tomatoes. So I always do it in sets of 3. And because I want a lot of tomato, like canopy, to keep in the moisture, because I'm in really dry temperatures, really low humidity, I plant them about a foot closer than people normally do. A lot of people want air circulation, they don't want any mold, but I want to hang on to as much moisture up here as I can. All right, one more thing. If your tomato plants get too tall for the T-posts that you have, you can always take another one, set it right next to that one, tie it up really good, and that will give you the length that you need. Also, I highly recommend this technique because it's a lot better to have T-posts on your property, your farm, whatever, because this can be used for chicken coops. It can be used for corralling all kinds of animals. And I just find that these are used way more often than those cages. So yeah, I make sure I go down both sides of the tomato plant at the same level, and then I do it again up about another 10 inches. And I will continue to do that throughout the season as the plant gets bigger. So this is what mine look like. This should have been down a little bit. Okay, so this is tied on both sides. Okay. And I tie it here. So I will probably have to tie again in a week or so, depending on how big they get. Okay, if there's anything I forgot, I'll let you know. All right, get sane, get smart, get skilled, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.